Well,
This is a
that's terrifying.
scary phenomena,
Oh, yeah.
and it's even scarier because there is some truth to this.
Totally.
Yeah,
This
could totally
could
happen.
During the initial infective stage, you may just have a cough, not feel so good, and you could still be going around infecting other people. And I know everyone remembers back when the swine flu came out a number of years ago. We talked about it a lot on this show, and no one knew how severe that was going to become. But I remember explicitly going into work being a little fearful.
Oh, yeah. Back when we had the swine flu, it was really the fear. Everybody walking around with masks and
Trying to
staying home.
stockpile
Right, yeah,
antivirals.
Yeah.
And so we should all, in some ways, be on high alert because a few years ago, the world was on high alert, as I talked about, with the emergence of the bird flu pandemic. Just recently, the UN announced that a mutant strain of the virus was detected in China and Vietnam. Here to tell us about what these new outbreaks may mean is Dr. Brad Spellberg, an infectious disease specialist. Dr. Spellberg, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And obviously, we don't want to scare people, but there is some reason to be alarmed, correct?
Well, you know, the bird flu is typically not transmissible from person to person. And so unless you have close contact with the bird that's been infected, not going to acquire it. The concern is, could it recombine with a virus that is transmissible from person to person? And that's really the fear that you guys are talking about. And if you were to combine the deadliness of bird flu with the transmissibility of another influenza, then you could be talking about a real problem.
If this happened, there is a potential that a lot of people could die. How quickly could we respond?
Well, I think the important thing to remember is there are international networks that surveil for these viruses, and typically they are found quite early. So I think you're talking a 6 to 9 month period for possibly vaccines to be available. If you catch it early, you know, you probably are going to catch it around the time it starts to spread.
And as far as, just to clarify, people wonder, okay, this is the bird flu. Can I not eat chicken? Is our food supply safe? Clarify for folks how these things are transmitted and why the food supply, you're not as worried about it.
There's no evidence that the United States food supply is at risk. This specific virus you're talking about has been found in Asia. It's now spread a little bit to Eastern Europe and to the Middle East. It's being spread by wild birds. It's not being spread in the food chain.
Okay, that's important to know. But you know, one of these, a common thing with all these viruses is, you know, when you first catch it, you're really not that sick. You know, maybe a fever, sore throat, cough, and you wouldn't think anything of it. But if you've been traveling overseas and you get pretty much any illness, you should tell your doctor about it so that you can start investigating.
And Dr. Spellberg, will you stick around?
You bet.
Thank you. And while there should be plenty of antivirals to go around, if God forbid we do have another potential flu pandemic,